Well, the Miami Marlins continue to bounce back after their series opening loss to the New York Mets as they take game 3 in Queens by a score of 6-2. It is the Marlins' second straight win at Citi Field after dropping the first 4 games. Obviously, the first 3 were in May when we got swept, and of course, the fourth being on Thursday night. Well, today it was just a great, great performance from everybody. Just like most of our wins this season, uneventful but gets the job done. First off, I want to talk about the offense. The offense today came alive. It was great. Considering that we were facing off against a lefty today, obviously being Zach Thornton of the Mets, we were able to do pretty good. We were able to record 10 total hits, which again, facing off against a lefty pitchers have been our biggest Achilles heel all season long offensively. We've always struggled against lefty pitchers, but today we were finally able to break through, finally able to get a win against a lefty pitcher. So, like I said, 10 hits. And the two biggest moments offensively of the game were the home runs that were hit by Javier Sanoja and Griffin Conine. I almost said Jeff. Griffin Conine. The Javier Sanoja homer happened in the second. It was a two-run home run to left to make it 3-0, and I kind of felt like that was pretty much the biggest play of the game. You can make an argument, of course, the Conine home run was great too. Gave us a bit of a cushion that we would not relinquish, but just to be able to go deep in Citi Field for a third straight game, Javier Sanoja, of all people, a guy who doesn't have a lot of pop, getting that big home run, that was I think that was a big lift for the entire team. That was Sanoja's fourth home run of the season. Obviously, he's not a home run hitter, but it's always a treat to see him go yard, and we did that today. And the Conine homer was actually another solo shot. For whatever reason, the Marlins have been feasting off of solo home runs, and we did it again today with the Conine homer. That made it 5-2 in the fifth inning. And both Javier Sanoja and Griffin Conine were one of several Marlins with multi-hit games today. Otto Lopez, not one of them, surprisingly. But Esteury Ruiz went 2 for 3. And Liam Hicks also went 2 for 3. Liam Hicks's 2 for 3 night, highlighted by the 2 RBIs that he drove in. Both times, obviously, he sent home Otto Lopez, which was kind of funny. And for Esteury Ruiz, he had a big impact on this game today. Also went 2 for 3, ended up scoring a run. But he also had a really cool stolen base. Ended up stealing third for the 9th time this season in the second inning. And he did it in a way that was similar to Otto Lopez earlier this year, where Esteury, he sort of did like a little swim move to get to third base, to avoid the tag. Ended up getting safely on third base, successfully stole that bag. That was pretty sweet. That was pretty cool, not going to lie. Highlight reel stolen base. There's not many of them, but that definitely is one of them. So shout out to Esteury Ruiz. Had a big impact on this game today. And very, very thankful and glad for him that he was able to get things going. He kind of was on like a little bit of a cold stretch for a while. So to see him get a 2 for 3 game today, score a run, get the stolen base in sick fashion, great stuff from him. Obviously, a couple Marlins went hitless today as well, but the one that I want to focus on is Xavier Edwards. Edwards went 0 for 5 today, and I don't know, like he's had a really good season, a really good season. But I don't know, it's almost felt like ever since the calendar turned from June to July, he's sort of been off, sort of like this entire team. But I think more than anybody, Xavier Edwards has suffered from a long funk. He went 0 for 5 today, and ever since July began, he's batted .247, which isn't horrible for this day and age, but for a hitter like Xavier Edwards, you want his batting average to be higher. Still not bad. You want him to be more productive, but yeah, he's batted .247 since July started to go along with a .337 on-base percentage and a .287 slugging percentage, and he's also posted an abysmal .617 OPS. So Obviously, he really hasn't been able to get the juice going ever since July began. Hopefully, he can kind of get things turned around soon because if he gets his season turned around, if he goes back to the Xavier Edwards that we saw earlier in the season, then we're going to be able to keep, reeling off wins. And, it's going to be pretty fun to see him get back on track. So, hopefully, Edwards gets his mojo back at the plate. I believe in the second inning, he ended up having a little bit of an argument with the home plate umpire. I guess he did not offer Xavier Edwards a timeout. So I'm assuming Edwards called a timeout. Home plate umpire didn't hear him, called the strike because he took too long to get set in the batter's box. And I believe he ended up flying out in that inning, although I could be wrong. Obviously, a baseball game, it goes by fast, but it goes by slow, and there's details that you do forget as the game goes on. But regardless, that at-bat didn't result to anything. And to be honest with you, I actually kind of thought Clayton McCullough was going to get ejected because, I don't know, he wasn't really angry per se, but you can kind of see his temper flaring up a little bit the longer he had the conversation with the home plate umpire. Kind of worried that he was going to get ejected. Luckily, he did not, and he stayed in the game, stayed in the dugout, got through it, and I guess he was rewarded with the win today. So, so that ended up happening. Weird moment there. Kind of a weird game today too. That was a weird event, but there was a couple more things that ended up happening today. Obviously, me living in New Jersey, I ended up having to see the SNY broadcast, which is the channel that the Mets games are broadcasted on here in the New York, New Jersey area. And obviously, today was the 40th anniversary reunion of the legendary 1986 Mets team that won the World Series. And one of the interviews, they had Ray Knight, who ended up winning the World Series MVP that particular series, and they ended up interviewing him, and he ended up throwing an F-bomb on live TV, which is hilarious and funny. Hopefully, Instagram and Twitter picks up on that, and we see that clip soon, because I was absolutely dying. I was in shambles, laughing at Ray Knight for throwing that loud F-bomb. Obviously, if you guys don't know, Ray Knight was the guy not only won the 1986 World Series MVP, but he ended up having the most iconic moment in that series. Of course, Game 6, the whole Bill Buckner debacle, where Buckner ended up letting, a ground ball get through his legs, and Ray Knight was the one who ended up scoring the game-winning run to force that Game 7 and eventually turned into that Mets championship. So it was kind of cool to see that team out at Citi Field today. Me being a bit of a sports historian, a baseball historian, it was kind of cool. The 86 Mets are definitely one of my all-time favorite teams, but to be honest with you, it was a pleasure to ruin that reunion, to spoil that reunion tonight, because obviously it's okay to like the 86 Mets, but Mets are obviously a big rival of the Marlins, so we don't really like them that much. So it was nice to see him spoil that 86 reunion too. Also, by the way, today was the second time where the Mets held a ceremony prior to the game with the Marlins visiting town. Of course, the last time that we visited Citi Field in late May, the Mets had a Ring of Honor ceremony where they inducted Bobby Valentine and someone else, I forgot who it was, into the Mets Hall of Fame or whatever it's called down there. So we had to wait a little bit longer for first pitch. Very, very annoying, but what are you going to do? At least we spoiled one ceremony, which is nice. But anyway, moving back to the game, pitching-wise, Tyler Phillips tossed a solid inning, 5 innings of work, 5 innings in his second straight start, got the win, moving his record to 3-5. He ended up giving up 6 hits and allowed a 2-run home run to Tyron Taylor in the second inning, but he was able to settle down after that, lock back in, and complete his duty. Ended up tossing for 3 strikeouts and did not give up a walk, which was the first time he did not do that since June 28th. Only pitched 65 pitches today. Obviously, John King came in the 6th, and his 65 pitches is Tyler Phillips' lowest pitch count since May 24th, which was when he transitioned from being a bullpen arm to a starting pitcher because obviously our rotation was depleted at the time with Eury Perez going down back in Toronto. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. While the bullpen was great, and we will get into that, I kind of want to see Tyler Phillips get more innings, get more work. Only 65 pitches. Typical logic would say, oh, that he's at least good. He's good for 3 more innings at the most. At the most, he's good for 3 more innings. But obviously, Clayton McCullough did not leave him in past the 5th inning. Kind of questioning there. Kind of want to see him get more work, but regardless, it did not hurt us in the long run today. Hopefully, the next time Phillips gets at least 6, 7 innings. If he's dealing like he was today, he got out of a couple jams, was composed, was poised on the mound, like what I saw from him today. Never worrying about him when he's starting. Of course, he's had a couple of bad starts, but usually when he's on the bump, you know what you're going to get, and he gave us a solid outing tonight. So shout out Tyler Phillips for today's outing. And going to the bullpen, John King, like I said, came into the game in the 6th inning, perfect inning. And then Lake Bachar, man, talk about, if you want to talk about a star, Sanoja might get all the credit for the 2-run home run, Liam Hicks the 2 hits, but Lake Bachar, a 3-inning save today, came in the 7th, did not come out, did his job, tossed 2 strikeouts during his outing. The 2nd save of the season for Lake Bachar. Got to give him a lot of credit for today because obviously Bachar has been getting lit up at times. He's been getting lit up recently. Had a solid outing the last time out. I believe he pitched a shutout inning yesterday, if I can recall. But he's been slowly getting back into his groove. You want to see him, get back to his consistency on the mound. And today's a good sign that he's reverting back to his old form. And again, a 3-inning save is nothing to sneeze at. So shout out to Lake Bachar. Came in clutch. Very, very proud of him today for that great performance. So with the win, the Marlins improved to 55-57, and they have won 5 of their last 6 games, of course, dating back to the Philadelphia series in which we got a sweep. So things are looking good. Things are feeling good, feeling positive again after that abysmal, horrible, nightmare-inducing 12-game losing streak. So the fact that we can come back from that, win 5 of 6, still stay in the race, still stay in the hunt, big, big, big. Gotta love it. So with the win, we are now 1 game back, a measly game back of the Philadelphia Phillies for a playoff spot. And as of now, a lot of the other teams in the NL wild card race, they're playing at the moment. The Pirates, Phillies, Nationals, Diamondbacks, Cubs, and Padres are all playing at the. Well, as a matter of fact, the Padres are not playing now, but they will play at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time. But pretty much all the other teams that I listed that are in the postseason race are playing as of now, so there's not a lot of results. But we did get one result today, and that was the Cardinals losing to the Blue Jays 5-1. So that's pretty good. It works in our favor. One of the teams that are vying for one of those playoff spots lost today. Hopefully, a lot of these other teams will lose as the night concludes. So we will see what goes on with the standings by the end of tonight. Hopefully, a lot of those teams lose, like I said. Sandy Alcantara on the bump tomorrow, gets the start. Excited to see him pitch again. He's been on a tear. You know what we're going to get. Hopefully he does not choke. Nothing unforeseen happens, and we get a great start from him. Obviously looking for that, what is it, 112th quality start of his career, or in a Marlins uniform. Hopefully that ends up happening tomorrow afternoon. I believe first pitch is at 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Got to go back and check. But regardless, it's before 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So like I said, Sandy on the bump tomorrow. Hopefully the Marlins win and get up to 3 games over 500. We'll see what happens. Series win on the line tomorrow against the Mets in Game 4. Hopefully I'll be back on camera tomorrow with some more positivity and some more smiles and an upbeat attitude. Like I said, Marlins win today, going for the series win tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys. Tomorrow after the game. And let's go fish. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's keep this winning going, guys. Let's keep it going.